This is the Aldi Kitchen Living brand pasta maker. That's right, it's a pasta maker, and it actually works. This particular one is modeled after the one that Ron Popeil had back in the early 90s, or probably even before then. It's a rather complicated machine, but the results that it produces in terms of the quality of the pasta are absolutely spectacular. This was approximately $40. I got this about a year ago, and it has made a cameo appearance in another video of mine previously. But today we're going to use it for real. We're going to make lasagna tonight, so we're going to make lasagna noodles. The storage compartment at the bottom of the machine, and they give you all different dies. And in here is the one that we're going to be using for the lasagna noodles. Give you two containers, the larger one for the flour, smaller one for your water and an egg and some oil. So right now we're going to get 2 of the larger measuring cups filled with flour. You put some in and then tap it down on the counter as such. Continue and then level it off. Now there are a lot of parts to this machine, so let's go through them. First of all, you have a ring on the outside. In the front of that is where your die will fit. Right now you see I have it in a dish of water. They say to leave it in some warm water for a little bit of time before you get started. I guess it just helps the process along. Then you have the front piece here, but before that you actually have the top, which is a little tough with just one hand. There we go. The top actually locks everything together. You don't ever want to drop any of these pieces. They'll probably crack and that'll be the end of the machine. But as long as you treat them with care and never even think about putting those in the dishwasher, as much as the book says that you can. This turns and now everything comes apart. So you have the front piece here. I don't know exactly what the technical term is. This here is the extruder. It's a corkscrew and the mixture gets pushed down to the end and forced out through the die. Pretty simple. And over here is the mixing blade. It's got a little silicone washer at the end of it, and it's sort of an oddball weird shape like that. Everything is hex drive, and the entire casing comes apart as well. So then you just put that back together and slide it home. Put the blade through and back on. You then put the front part and turn it to the right. Insert the extruder and lock that in. And at that point you would then put your die in the front piece, and that as a unit would then screw on over there, and the top would go on. In this case we're ready to put in our dry ingredients, so we'll get started. Now we dump in the first container of flour. You'll see I have installed the die in the front as well. Okay, we now have our 2 containers full of flour in there. Now it's time to put the top on. You can see again that the die has been installed, and you're going to turn the unit over to mix up top over here. EXT is for extrude and MIX is for mix. You must push both switches in the same direction. So if you wanted mix and you put it that way, it won't work. It has to go that way. The machine starts up and it starts mixing. Now it's time to add in the liquid ingredients. In here is 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then water up to the line. Or, if the camera will point it out, here's the line here. I went a little above because that's about what the humidity right now is requiring. There's a slot on the top of the machine, and you just slowly pour it in. I like to go back and forth with it. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Just sort of dump it in there. Now, if you've done any cooking before in the kitchen, you know that dough is very temperamental. And getting the right consistency will depend on the particular day, how well you're feeling, how much you're into cooking, stuff like that. We're going to leave this and let it mix for at least 5 minutes. After 5 minutes of mixing, we are not at the consistency that we want. We're looking for small pea-sized lumps, and it's still too powdery. Not quite there. So what we're going to do is add a little bit more water. Same container. It's cloudy because I haven't rinsed the stuff out. It's all the goodness that's going in. So we're just going to put a splash or two at a time. Wait another minute or two, let it mix, and just continue on until it basically looks right. So a few trials and tribulations later, adding a little bit more water at a time, this is about what I've come up with. It doesn't do the greatest job in the world mixing, but you get the idea. It takes a lot longer than the 5 minutes that it says. Anyway, at this point we're ready to try extruding. So what's going to happen, if you look down in here, is the dough is basically going to go inside of that opening, get forced in the corkscrew, which is then going to turn the other way and be forced out again. Now, if for some reason this dough is not, if it's too dry or it's too wet and the extruded noodles don't look right, that's okay. You can always stop and correct the issue. Take off the stuff. You can actually put that back in here and add more flour or more liquid or what have you. Anyway, right now we're going to stop the machine, turn that off, go over to extrude, and turn it on in that direction, and you can watch. It makes awful sounds. The first bits that you're going to get are going to be terrible. You see how it's crumbly because the mixture gets in there? But eventually it will start coming out. It's getting a little more each moment, a little more each moment. As soon as it clears that stuff, then it'll start spitting out noodles. There we go, now it's starting. Now of course the ends of these are kind of crumbly and not really that great looking, you can see. But again, that was just extra flour and stuff that was still dry in the end of it. Now it forced that stuff out. And look at that. We have noodles coming out. One down here as well. When they're the length that you want, you can take the back edge of a butter knife and just swipe down, and then you will get whatever length you like. This will take some time. This is not the kind of thing that is going to happen immediately. You can see how slowly it is moving, but it is moving. This is about right. Like I said, it just takes a little while to get started. But there we are. We are now making pasta. One of the greatest things about fresh pasta, first of all, of course, is the taste. It's so much better than store-bought stuff in the box. And the second thing is that it cooks up in like as little as about 3 minutes. Just really nice. So like I said, we're making a lasagna tonight, and in a little bit we're going to swipe those off and I'll show you what we get. Comes right off. Probably a good idea to separate your noodles as well, to let them sort of dry a little bit. They're also going to be hot because of the friction that's created in here. And we just wait. You can see there's plenty more dough in here, so we're going to make quite a bit just with that batch. And after a while, you will end up with no more dough in the machine. No more noodles will be coming out, so we're just going to swipe that off one final time, like that, and shut down the machine. And here is the bounty. Look at all of these wonderful noodles. They're just fantastic. And they taste great also before you even cook them. So we're going to cook those up and make lasagna with it. Now I'm not going to show you my recipe for lasagna because everybody makes it a bit differently and everybody says theirs is the best. But of course you can make all the different pastas that you like with this, and the booklet with it includes all sorts of weird recipes. Another thing that you can do with this machine is, in place of using water, you can use fruit and or vegetable juices. You can use beet juice, you can use carrot juice, you can use spinach juice, and that will give you your tricolor pasta and stuff like that, and even alter the taste of it as well. So here's a whole bunch of different ones here. Gluten-free pasta, spicy Cajun pasta, French champagne pasta, sour cream and onion pasta, chocolate dessert pasta. Now if you look up online on YouTube, you'll probably find an old video of Ron Popeil selling his, and he mentions many of the same recipes, and they go on corn pasta, pasta primavera, a marinara sauce, tomato basil sauce, chicken a la Shannon. By the way, Shannon, that is Shannon Popeil, which is Ron Popeil's daughter. Garlic pasta, fettuccine and chicken, Hungarian paprika pasta, I remember you mentioned that, spinach fettuccine in creamy dill sauce, Russian borscht pasta, he definitely mentioned that, lemon pepper pasta, and the list goes on here. There's a whole bunch of different things like that. Care and cleaning. Let's talk about that because this isn't going to tell you anything. Everything here comes apart in the reverse order that it went together. The top comes off, this unscrews, the die comes out, the extruder comes out, the blade comes out, this front piece comes out rather first, then the blade comes out, and then the whole housing right here comes out. Easiest way I found to clean this stuff, let's talk for a minute. We started with dry flour, then it got wet. When that happens, it turns sticky. When it dries like glue. How do you turn it back into something you can work with? Keep it wet. So the best way that I have found to clean this is to fill up a sink full of water and leave this stuff in there to soak. You can leave it overnight. That'll keep everything nice and moist, and the next day it'll wash up no problem. As far as the dyes go, this one isn't really that much of a problem. Something like this, on the other hand, is a problem. Easiest way I found to clean this is to get a toothpick, and yep, you're going to be poking out every one of these holes twice. You poke through the hole on this side, flip it around, and then you can get the toothpick and kind of swipe around in there, and you'll get a little ball come out, and then go and do your next one, and then go and do your next one. And you see there are a lot of little holes that you are going to be cleaning out here, and it is a bit time consuming, but like I said, the results in terms of how the pasta tastes will well be worth the time and trouble in making this and cleanup. There we are, fresh cooked. Feels like a noodle. It's very, very hot. This is the data plate on the back. It says it's AC 120 volts, 60 hertz, 250 watts, made in China. Once again, this was the Aldi Kitchen Living brand pasta maker. This again is an older model. Typically the Kitchen Living line has been replaced by the Ambiano line of products, but it's all the same stuff. May be available in a different color. This was the only color that they had, in the white and neon green. But that's it. Fresh pasta at home, much better than boxed, much cheaper than store-bought fresh pasta. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.